Hello everyone, Maurice and welcome to Things Invest. We talk about investing, finance, and professional development. For today's video, 80 terms only. The investment I'm going to talk about today will be Ethereum ticker ETH. As I'm recording around 9:30 a.m. on the Eastern time right now, with respect to Ethereum, it's currently trading around like the $2,380, up about 3.55% so far. With respect to the three consecutive positive days so far we've had with Ethereum so far, stem from and I've been keeping tabs with respect to the news media affectation so far. First is the JP Morgan article that came out on Monday with respect to the proof of stake adoption going forward, with their research report expecting that with the current state of the proof of stake right now is about $9 billion in market size, is going to expect to grow to $20 billion in the next 2 years and then reach $40 billion by 2025. In addition to the subsequent news that we got, another positive news affectation is with respect to the $542 million bet by one of the unknown entity that bought durated from basically 2 Thursdays ago and until last Thursday, with 133 different accounts purchasing close to about $542 million in Ethereum. Obviously it's a relatively large bet in a more of a singular entity perspective, but obviously in comparison to the overall market cap of Ethereum, it's still relatively small, but definitely a lot of positive momentum pressure that cultivate from this obviously factor as a news, right? In addition to that, after that subsequent news, we got another news from ENY again, right? And this time is more of a neutral one with more of a positive spectrum in terms of like a foreshadow perspective, is that ENY takes a crack at the Ethereum gas fee problem, right, by with the new protocol called the Nightfall 3, right, to basically help make Ethereum, the blockchain technology, cheaper to use without sacrificing any privacy protection issues, right? With respect to yesterday, with respect to the negative news that we got from China and also with the oil volatility, with respect to the poor labor market report that we got yesterday, it subsequently pumped up Ethereum in a way that, with respect to the anti-correlation effects in the equity market, right? And as of today, I've been keeping tabs again. We got three consecutive positive news today coming from three different publication companies. One is CoinDesk around their date on the London fork expectation that's expected to launch on August 4th. So the date is confirmed now. And in case you don't know what London fork is, basically this is the next phase that bring Ethereum closer to the proof of stake concept of the EIP 1559, right? And the upgrades basically proposed to replace Ethereum, the traditional first price auction fee model, with the base fee network fee modifiable per network's demand model, right? And it's basically hoped to solve the high price problem that we've been kind of cultivating with respect to Ethereum value proposition so far, and basically hopes to decrease the cost by adopting this new technology, right? Which is a pressing issue that we've been try to fix ever since 2019 so far, right? Another media affectation that got picked up that also drives some buying pressure across Ethereum is with respect to Goldman Sachs. They announced in their client's relationship correspondence note yesterday that they expect that Ethereum smart contract is gonna outperform Bitcoin's going forward. That with respect to the total market capitalizations for Ether, it should subsequent overtake Bitcoin in the next 3 to 5 years from now. So obviously, with Goldman Sachs backing Ethereum, and so is JP Morgan backing Ethereum, two major banks in the world are supporting this value proposition. Definitely extremely bullish news, right? Another kind of a funny trivial news is with respect to news from Craft, with respect to U.S. Congressman Barry Moore, and basically the news is basically around him purchasing three separate different cryptocurrencies: Dogecoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, or ADA, right? And he bought the time frame around like May to June time period. And based on the research on the craft, they they said something about he bought somewhere around like the range of $5,000 to $70,000 worth of these three respective cryptocurrencies. Do we know how diverse is his portfolio with respect to these three currencies? We don't know, right? Because I don't think Barry want to completely provides transparencies around his investment holdings, right? But obviously, with this news, it's definitely positive, knowing the fact that the U.S. government, with respect to Barry Moore, which is a U.S. congressman, he supports Ethereum, Dogecoin, and Cardano. I would say, more towards Ethereum and Cardano, but Dogecoin is more like a hedge in a way for him. I don't know him personally, but I'm guessing based on just the media affectation that I've been cultivating so far. So obviously with this, basically, and I've been keeping tabs like 6 consecutive positive media affectation that we've had so far, on top of the negative equity anti-correlation effects yesterday. Obviously drives a lot of buying pressure to Ethereum, and it broke above the $2,350 level right now. So I'm gonna go through a technical analysis again to see how we trending going forward. Do we see more of a sell-off coming, or do we see more of a surge coming ahead of the summit that's gonna expected to debut on July 21st, which is basically a week and a half out. So stay tuned, stick around, let's make some money. Alright, so moving on to the technical analysis for Ethereum ticket ETH. I'm recording as of 9:46 a.m. on Eastern time right now. Currently trading at like $2,378, up about 3.46% so far. And respect to the consecutive positive news that I just mentioned earlier, with respect firstly the JP Morgan news, the proof of stake adoption, with respect to the $542 million bet in Ethereum, with respect to the ENY crackdown for the gas fee problem with the Nightfall 3, with respect to more positive news that we heard today, that's drive a little bit more green pressure. And just to keep tabs, right, the CoinDesk article on the London fork expectations that is going to launch on August 4th, right? Secondly, the Goldman Sachs news article on the correspondence notes on basically, just positioning between Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously pushing Ethereum on a pedestal. That's another news, right? Another supplementary news, I guess, is kind of adjacent news, if you may, is the U.S. Congressman news from Barry Moore, right? Purchasing anywhere from around $5,000 to $75,000 worth of Dogecoin, Ethereum, and Cardano between the time of May and June, right? So obviously, a lot of positive momentum that's been pushing this going forward so far. And you could see how extremely stretched up the MACD right now, and how extremely stretched up the RSI is right now. Right, despite this, 6 consecutive positive news so far, it obviously drove some buying pressure, right? However, how sustainable is this right now? If you take a look at this real quick, right? I think despite this very positive media affectation that we've been cultivating so far, the risk is definitely increasing dramatically right now, because of the fact that these media affectations are very coincidental, right? And how I'm talking about this is because we have basically 6 positive media affectation that's been percolating on a daily basis right now. That matches and corresponds with the consecutive negative media affectation that we've had. 5 negative news that we've had, right? The rates basically from June 14th all the way to June 26th. And ever since that, we got the JP Morgan news, and we got the $542 million news, and then the London fork news, and the Goldman Sachs start shipping in, and then the Congressman Barry Moore start buying in. All of these news start to percolate one by one. It's like kind of building a building blocks right now. So there's definitely some whales, some institutional buying momentum that's going on right now that's propelling this to be occurring. And I think that it's not a coincidence that it's happening in this consecutive fashion. It is a curation what's going on right now, right? So I think the risk is increasing right now. I would definitely be careful. But do I see more bullishness coming? I think we might, because of the fact that we broke through the $2,350 level. We above that level right now. So again, right, we don't ever just float between the levels. So I think the next level that we'll go to would be, right, the $2,443 to be more specific, or like, you could just call like 2,450, because that's like the next leap up, right? So, and I do see some propensity for us to go towards the higher north of the spectrum in comparison to like going down, because we broke through the walls of resistance. However, the risk is definitely increasing right now. We are extremely overbought on RSI right now. MACD is highly stretched. You can see that gap is extremely widened right now, despite the cross section that we had on 28th. So it's not that long ago. However, it is, it's becoming more and more risky now, right? So I would be a little bit more careful. I wouldn't load my bag into it because the pump is definitely progressing. Whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast. Remember that, right? And this is, I think the apex is almost there, right? Despite all these positive news, and we still kind of struggle to break above the 2,450, right? Because these news, with respect to Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, these are macro seismic news, right? However, you could see there's some skepticism among investors in play right now, right? These momentums are mostly driven by public investors, not really corporate investors or institutional investors, because of the volume level that is relatively low in comparisons to the past. You could see the red candles are a lot higher in comparisons to recent time. And these are basically, I think corporations or institutions were just basically buying us as we were kind of going down. And now with all these media affectation, they basically try to pump it up. In return, as they identify an opportune time to liquidate, then you see a mega red candle coming, and then you start to see like negative news happen consecutively. Because as you know, Ethereum is really volatile and is driven mostly by media affectation. Obviously, on a macro level, it's mainly driven by utilization and adoption going forward. In more of a short-term perspective, it's mainly driven by news. So these news are coincidental. These news are way too consecutive. It's definitely a curation. So I would be careful. And I would actually, if I was you right now, if you want to buy now, that's fine, because I know we should be reaching the 2,450. But just know that whatever goes up really fast comes down just as fast. That I feel more just, I would practice patience and just like wait off for now. I'll wait until we come back and cool down. I think after the summit, after the 21st. So we have to like kind of watch as we approach. I think on the 14th of July, which is next Wednesday, basically 1 week ahead of the summit, we should start to see a little bit of a separations, or an overall macro crypto pump in a momentum perspective going forward, and that should get us there. So that's how I'm gonna play it. So I'm gonna weigh off on buying this level right now, because I think you don't want to make just like $100, but you could have a potential of losing $250. So I'm gonna keep eyeing the levels, and I'll wait until we come back down to the 2,250 or 2,150. Well, ideally $2,050, which is a strong resistance level, and dollar cost average from there. So that's the play that I plan on doing in the next couple of weeks so far, going forward. All right, just to recap on all the numbers in the technical analysis, again, right, the level that we're at right now, I think we do have a propensity to go up to the 2,450 because we broke through the 2,350. We are around like the 2,380 right now, so we have a high propensity to leap up from there because we don't ever stay between the levels, right? And with respect to 2,250, I think that's a more ideal level for me to dollar cost average, knowing the fact that, with respect to the MACD and RSI right now is pretty much stretched up all the way right now. Obviously, with respect to the 6 consecutive positive media affectation that we've had so far, right? So remember, these are curations from the media companies, right? So definitely watch out and be aware, right? And be cautious right now. And don't be greedy and don't chase the pump. Think logically, think about why is it happening? What are the incentives behind them? And I think it's pretty obvious. Like they've been buying ever since the sell-off that we had in the 5 consecutive days that we had, in the last week so far, in the last couple of weeks prior. And now we see this consecutive news. It's basically dumping and then buying. So dump and pump. And with respect to the steel level, $2,050, I think that's a likelihood of us reaching there in the next couple days would be very unlikely. But possibly after the summit, that's likely, because that's like a macro catalyst that could like you could buy the rumor and sell the new type of affectation, right? And I think we are kind of anticipating, kind of percolating around these momentum right now, as we're looking at it right now, based on just how the chart is set up right now, and some of the media affectation is kind of capsulating into this momentum right now. In respect to corporate adoption, 20%, 9,800, 4.4 times your money if you buy the 2,250. All right, so that's it for today. Respect my technical analysis on Ethereum ticket ETH. Hopefully you guys find this helpful into calculating on your execution price going forward by dollar cost averaging logically. And please, feel free to ask me any questions if you have any questions, or if there was anything that was unclear to you, happy to address them further. And please hit the like button, subscribe button, all the bell notification, and watch out for the next coming up. Take care. Bye.